Hi there and welcome to the programme. Well, Hearts failed to make it 4 wins out of 4 over the Dons this season in an enthralling game up at Pittodrie on Saturday. This weekend, however, sees the last league encounter of the season, and for the players the stakes are much higher, with a cup final place up for grabs. Coming up on the Hearts Club, Saturday's game against Aberdeen, Gary Naismith on his Young Player of the Year award, the fans' view on the season, a European night from the past, and your chance to win the new history of Hearts. But first, Hearts travelled north at the weekend to try and make amends for last week's disappointing performance against Rangers. It turned out to be an entertaining affair, as David Harron reports.
A healthy support made the journey north, hoping that Richard Gough's considered comments about Aberdeen only trying against Rangers would be true. And when Neil McCann scored a 10th minute goal, which brought back memories of the kind of football Hearts were playing during that long unbeaten run, things looked good indeed. John Robertson is still one of the best in the country at these kinds of touches and flicks in the box, and McCann's finish was, as they say, clinical. Jamie Buchan, whose dad of course set up the goal which prompted Arthur Montford's finest hour, Argentina Here We Come, had a decent effort after that, before Aberdeen eventually equalised. Ian Jess healed the great potential, robbed Dave McPherson and slammed the ball past Gilles Rousset. Still, McPherson made up for it soon enough. Steve Fulton picked out Neil McCann, whose outswinging cross provided the kind of chance the tabloids would describe as meat and drink to the big man. An attacking right-back isn't what you think of when someone mentions Big Davy, but then it's total football these days in Gorgie. Went in at the break 2-1 up, but it only took Aberdeen a few seconds of the second half to equalise. Mike Newell was left in the proverbial acres of space, and he didn't miss either. Then there was another one of these things which are often described as surging or lung-busting runs from Dave McPherson, which fed Adam, who provided a chance for Colin Cameron, a man the Hearts fans are delighted to see back in the team. Cameron deserved a goal after a great jinking run shortly afterwards, but then it doesn't work like that. Thereafter, Hearts created most of the chances and dominated most of the play. David Weir was unlucky with a couple of good efforts, first a volley and then a header, while the fans showed great enthusiasm over events at some other game taking place in Edinburgh.
Well, results and performances haven't been great for Hearts recently, but certainly that performance, not so much the result, but that performance was an improvement on the recent past.
Definitely, George. The last 4 or 5 games we've let ourselves down, but Saturday I think Colin Cameron coming back into the side, it definitely made a difference. He gave us the right balance in midfield, and the boys put in a very good performance.
Yeah, well, a good midfield and good possession was what happened for the first goal, which they created. Neil McCann putting in that ball there, but good play here, Gary. Good possession. It was a tight area.
Really good football. Ferguson's turned there, played a great wee ball into Robbo, who's put him through with a great flick, and it's a great finish.
That's what Robbo's good at, though, especially in the penalty box for sharp wee touches. He's very aware.
That's right. He's great at that, holding the ball up and bringing others into play. And that shows his quality there with a great wee flick to Neil McCann.
And again, the quality of Neil McCann and pace creating that one as well to get past his man.
That's right. Fergus had a great game on Saturday. and hopefully with Alec Miller being the assistant manager of Scotland, hopefully he'll put his name forward to the World Cup final.
It must be disappointing though, giving away these early leads that you seem to be getting and then teams equalising. What was the manager saying about that?
Yeah, I don't think the manager was too happy. Obviously it was sloppy defending on our behalf, but no, as long as we can put that right for now, obviously the last game of the season and obviously the cup final.
And the second goal again as well, Dave McPherson in an unfamiliar position for him really, on the right hand side, but it was good play there by Fulton picking out McCann, and again McPherson attacking it well there.
That's right, he's got himself right up there, right into the box, and Big Dave's deadly for that position, especially with the head.
People have accused him of not being aggressive enough in the air, but he seemed to be attacking it there with no fear.
That's right, as I say, he took the goal well there, and it's a good position for him to be in, especially when he was meant to be right back.
We've got there's a lot of goals that Hearts have scored against Aberdeen, 13 goals this season, and having Colin Cameron back in the game, he almost added to that on a couple of occasions.
That's right, Mickey made a big difference to the team on Saturday just for his runs into the opposition box, and it's all credit to him because he has been carrying a niggling stomach injury, but I think he took a couple of jags before the game and he got through the game no problem at all.
Okay then. Well, the team's great form this year was further recognised last week when 3 players were on the short list for the PFA Awards. Steve Fulton was nominated in the Player of the Year category, with Paul Ritchie and Gary Naismith up for the Young Player Award. Gary, of course, won the award, and he spoke to David Harron about it.
Weir. Madame. Hearts have got 3 in the middle. Oh, it was nearly Hamilton again.
The rise and rise of Gary Naismith, recognised recently by the PFA, is all the more remarkable given that he started the season playing reserve team football. It will come as no surprise then that he's pretty chuffed with how the year has worked out.
At the start coming in I was a wee bit worried, and once I got 2 or 3 games and I was playing quite consistent, I was happy about that. And the manager's stuck by me since the turn of the year and he's kept me in. I think it's about the last 20 games, so I've been quite happy with that.
Well, I think you've got to say, bar a couple of performances, he's been outstanding. You know, we had to put him in because Neil got suspended, and he had been in before and done quite well. But this time, he scored on the game coming up at St Johnstone, and he's done exceptionally well.
For a young player to break into the team and play as Naismith has is impressive, although he insists he didn't think his would be the name read out at the awards bash.
I was both honoured and shocked. I was really shocked that I won the award because I thought Paul Ritchie would have won the award. But I was also honoured because it's my fellow professionals that voted me Young Player of the Year. Definitely thought it was Paul because this year he's been a team's best player. He's been really consistent and he's came on a great deal for last year.
What do you think your best performance has been this season? What games stand out in your mind?
I don't know my best performance. I just like when the team plays really well. The game here against Aberdeen when we won 3-1, it was a really good game. Aberdeen played quite well and we played well. And the goal obviously sticks out that I scored. But both teams played quite well and it was a really good game to play, and it passed quite quick. And also at Parkhead 0-0. We went there and everybody expected Celtic to beat us, but we played well that day and with a bit of luck we could have beat them.
What are his particular qualities as a player?
Well, I think he's an all-round good player. He's a good defender. He can play naturally as a left back. He gets forward, he uses it very well. He's deceptively quick. You know, he's got that sort of slow-moving gait, but he is very quick. You didn't see many people go by him, and he's got a good temperament as well. And I've said before, most of the young boys here have, and he falls in line with that.
There was comments in the paper in midweek attributed to Richard Gough, where he said that a future Rangers team, if they wanted any success, probably wouldn't have any Scottish players in it at all. Hearts have shown this season that they're willing to invest in young players. Do you think that's true, or do you still think there are good young players coming through in Scotland?
Well, I mean, you know, we've got to. There's bound to be players in Scotland. We've just got to develop them properly and give them chances. I mean, I think that having a team, a good Scottish team, is a balance. I mean, if you have too many foreigners or too many youngsters, You know, it's not a good balance, and what we've tried to do here is balance the whole lot out. You know, we're young guys and foreigners, and you know, the Scottish lads are already here, but I think that you've got to have your Scottish players that know the game here and play a wee bit for the jersey.
Well, the award was always going to make its way over to Tynecastle, but do you think Gary Naismith deserved it ahead of Paul Ritchie, first of all?
It's hard to say. I mean, Gary's come in and he's done really well. And as he said in his interview there, he did think Paul Ritchie would win it. But I think a lot of maybe the players thought that Paul wouldn't win it because he was too old. Maybe that's the case. But no, I'm delighted for Gary because he thoroughly deserves the award. I'm disappointed for Paul, but you know, Gary's had a great season and he thoroughly deserves the award. Yeah,
it's some achievement for young Gary to win it because he's only really played half a season in the Premier League first team.
That's right, but also it just shows you how well he's done. He's come in and he's kept Neil Pointing at the side, who I would have said before he got suspended was our best player throughout the season so far. But Gary's come in, he's done really well, and Neil's found it hard to get back in.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of promising young players in the Hearts youth setup, and Gary was one of them, playing in the youth team in fact this time last year. So it seems to be quite rosy at Tynecastle at the moment. What would you say is the key behind the success?
I think it's the work that the manager and Billy and Peter Houston put in, and also Bobby Jenks as well. I mean, he's like an unsung hero. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but there's a lot of quality young lads there, and they play next Tuesday night at Tynecastle in the BP Youth Cup final, so hopefully the fans will turn out and watch that.
Yeah, well, hopefully that'll be one of two cups on its way to Tynecastle this season. Well, that's it for part one, but in part two we hear the fans' views on Hearts and relive a great European night from 12 years ago. Join us in a few minutes.
Can you tell him I'll get a ticket for the Scotland and Norway match?
Bonjour.
Je suis désolée, votre ticket il est pas bon.
For all the facts, get our guide in next month's football magazines.
Well, the fans have been turning up in great numbers this season to watch the team, and of course there'll be at least 20,000 making the trip to Celtic Park on May the 16th. David Harron had a pint with just a few of them to see what they make of the season so far.
I've been amazed actually that just the level of play and performances that we've put in this season. At the start of the season it was going to be the usual, you know, Rangers, possibly Celtic to put the challenge in, and it's just been great to see like the team staying up there for so long and playing attractive football. In my time watching Hearts, I've never seen such attractive football at Tynecastle. You know.
Who are the players that have made a difference?
The same my top three would be Steve Fulton, Neil McCann and Paul Ritchie.
I think Steve Fulton's consistency has been probably the basis, the reason that we've gone so far, because he's been so consistent over a long period of time. And I think we've really suffered badly recently when he's beginning to tire and picked up injuries, and that's when the form's begun.
You know, Paul Ritchie at the start, his consistency was unbelievable, and I think he's had a superb season. How he didn't get Player of the Year, I can't figure that one out. Excellent. I think his determination, tenacity, these sort of qualities, what some of the other players lack. He was the only one who was really getting wired into Rangers. He goes with that sort of firmness that some of the other players lack, and I think that was quite good to do against the old firm.
You know, what are the games that stand out for you this season? Have been your kind of favourite moments, or your favourite moment of the season so far?
So mine was the first home game of the season when they turned around 1-0 down for Aberdeen and beat them 4-1, you know, because that's a team that we've struggled to beat time and time again.
Conversely, the game that they lost to Dunfermline in the Coca-Cola Cup, I thought they played superbly that night. The other game I liked was the Kilmarnock 5-3 game. As a game of football, it was superb. I thought there were some great performances from the match team as well.
Possibly the Motherwell game, although rather perversely, as Jack puts it, the equaliser against Celtic when that man, Jose, popped up to do the stuff But I think
that was orgasmic, wasn't it?
That was.
I think that was described as a daily record hack, as orgasmic, yes. And I think that was possibly the greatest feeling for elation.
The sheer exhilaration has to be Hosey's goal against Celtic, because I mean, my season ticket's right in the section just next to the away fans, and it was just absolutely pandemonium down there. It was just like, it was just crazy. And I've not seen days like that since the corner was, But I mean, for actual playing, I think. I mentioned before, Dundee United away at Tannadice, Jim Hamilton scored. I thought the work rate that day was just unbelievable.
I'll go around the table and just get a prediction for the score in the cup final.
If they play as they did last Saturday, they get stuffed, but if they stick close to the Rangers, they'll give them the 3 or 4 yards that they've been giving them traditionally and hit them, I think they'll get a result.
We've got to adopt the right attitude, and we certainly can't afford to lose an early goal. The longer the game goes on, I don't see why not, and I'll stick my neck out here and say 1-0 to Hearts.
Attack them for the outset. I mean, without being too crazy about it, I mean, I think we can win 2-0, no problem.
The longer the game goes on, I don't see why not. I mean, you never know, and I'll go for 1-0 at half time, 3-0 at the end.
But don't put your money on it. Well, Gary, there's a lot of pressure there, I'd say.
There's a fair bit of pressure there, right? All the fans are the same, I'm no different. We're all desperate to win this cup, and hopefully in 2 weeks' time we'll do that.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of expectations there, but at the start of the season, you would accept what's happened in the season so far, mounting such a great challenge in the league. We can have a look at the league table just to see how much it means. It's almost all over, but I suppose the points dropped in the last few days could have put you right in amongst it again.
That's right, it's been annoying when you see the points that we've dropped over the last 4 or 5 games. If we had won those games, we could have been right up there and maybe be sitting on the top of the league just now, but that's in the past now. We've just got to look forward. We've slipped up, but we've still got the cup final to look forward to. We're all, the place is buzzing just now, and we're all just looking forward to the game.
Yeah, your own involvement throughout the season's been hampered with injury, but you'll be wanting to make sure you're in that squad for the cup.
Definitely, I'm no different from anybody else in the side. We all want to be in the 14 for the cup final, and hopefully I'll make the 14.
And do you think the manager already has a team picked? Does he have a team in his head that he thinks this is the guys that I hope will be fit and will be available?
I think he's got a rough idea. I'll be in his office tomorrow asking him if I'm playing, but he's got a rough idea of the 14, I would think, and we'll go away next week, and I think he'll work on things next week, and we'll get a better idea after that.
It'd be great to go into this game with a victory behind you, which we've not had for a few weeks now.
That's right, we've no won for a few weeks, but we've not really been beat that often either, so if we can go into the Saturday's game and play confidently, get a good result against Dunfermline, then hopefully we can take that kind of performance into the cup final.
Yeah, let's hope so. A victory would be nice. Well, one thing that is guaranteed is that Hearts will be playing in European football next season. To whet your appetite, we take you back to September 1986 and the first round of the UEFA Cup, when the visitors to Tynecastle were Dukla Prague.
So we can expect a very determined start to Sandy Clark. Wayne Foster, 1-0 to Hearts. And what a dramatic start. Inside the opening minute of the match, the perfect start for Hearts. The long throw from Jordan, the header from Sandy Clark, and how about this for a volley from Wayne Foster? Position, but coming forward to Lincoln attack, and there's a very neat turn indeed, and a chance for Dukla, and they snatch one back. Riga setting it up for Fitzel, and that is undoubtedly a savage blow for Hearts. Looseness here in defence. Riga with a very good turn indeed, getting away from his man. It was Walter Kidd playing it inside beyond Jordan, and Fitzel with a touch to give Dukla the equaliser. Milan Luhovi leaves it to Urban. And Rada flights it in again. There's the chance now for Dukla. And the second goal goes in, and it's Kluski who gets it. 18 minutes into the second half, and Josef Kluski makes the extra man in attack. And it's a disaster for Hearts. Rada fighting the ball across. The strikers were picked up, but there was Kluski. He was on his own, and Henry Smith was left without a chance. Ian Jordan fighting it across. Up goes Clark with Kostelnik. The goal's been given. Sandy Clark gets the goal. The Czech defenders go wild. They think there was a foul at Kostelnik, but Sandy Clark is making his way back. But Hearts are on level terms. Well, I wonder if the Czechs have a real complaint here. The ball flighted in by Ian Jordan. Clark was bundling into the keeper, thumping the loose ball into the net to give Hearts the equaliser, but really I have some sympathy with Kostelnik in the Dukla goal. Levine showing his composure on the ball, despite the very determined running of the Dukla front two. Sandy Clark again, there's the chance for Hearts, and Foster leaves it to John Robertson. Hearts are in front. John Robertson back on the goal standard, and Tynecastle again bursts to life. What's Sandy Clark's contribution with the head flick on? Foster had this effort saved by Kostelnik. It fell kindly for Robertson, and that's the kind of chance he just doesn't miss.
Now here's a chance for 2 viewers to win a copy of this book, Gritty, Gallant, Glorious by Norrie Price, an excellent history of Hearts since the war. Select the best goal from this lot, and if Jim Jeffries agrees with you, the book could be yours. Now a reminder of those 9 goals once again. Goal 1, Neil McCann against Dunfermline. Goal 2, Neil McCann again against Kilmarnock. Goal 3, John Robertson versus Rangers. Goal 4, Stefano Salvatore against Dunfermline. Goal 5, Colin Cameron against Dundee United. Goal 6, Gary Naismith against Aberdeen. Goal 7, Neil McCann again versus Rangers. Goal 8, Jim Hamilton versus Dundee United. Goal 9, John Robertson versus Hibs. Once you've decided which one to vote for, put your answers on a postcard to the Hearts Club, Goal of the Season, Sky Scottish Television, Cowcaddens, Glasgow, G2 3PR. Well, that's it from the Hearts Club. We are back again next week here on Sky Scottish with a full preview of the Cup final. Until then, though, from Gary and me, thanks for joining us. Good night.